Welcome to Atheist Talk, produced by Minnesota Atheists. Minnesota Atheists practices positive, friendly neighborhood atheism in order to educate the public about atheism, to create a community of atheists, and to promote separation of state and church. We offer free literature and speakers about atheism to the public, as well as a free trial newsletter to anyone interested. We hope that if you like what you see, you'll consider becoming a member of Minnesota Atheists. If you're interested in us, we're interested in you. On today's program, we'll discuss the atheist group at the University of Minnesota, Minneapolis-St. Paul campus. The name of that group is the Campus Atheists and Secular Humanists, or CASH for short. With us today are two members of CASH, Mike Jones and Tim Miller. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now, Mike, you're the immediate past president of CASH
Yes.
for the 2003-2004 school year. Now, I understand that the structure of CASH has changed drastically.
Yes, it has. We now have 3 leading officers as opposed to a single president. One officer is in charge of activities, one's in charge of publicity, and one's in charge of the treasury.
Okay, so it's sort of like a triumvirate rule instead of a single president.
Yes, it's kind of a division of power.
Okay. Do you think it encourages more people to be active that way, more people in the leadership?
That's what I hope so, and so far that's what it seemed to have done.
Okay, well, great. Now, 2 of these positions, 2 out of these 3 positions in the triumvirate are held by women, so that even though we just have 2 guys here tonight, women are well represented in CASH. Is that true?
Yes, we've had some past trouble with that, but we seem to have really done a good job of getting the female side of the campus center CASH.
Okay. Now, in addition to the 3 elected leaders, and there's the treasurer, the activities coordinator, and the publicity coordinator, there are other offices that are appointed, like secretary,
Yes, secretary. There are advisors.
and you also have some advisors.
Yes. We have 2 advisors.
And one of them, I think, is Eric Snyder,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a past president of CASH when it used to be called UMA,
Mm-hmm.
University of Minnesota Atheists and Humanists. And he went on to be a co-founder of the Secular Student Alliance, the national group. So that's promising. You have a lot of active people set for the coming year and some good advisors. Now, what kind of things did CASH do in the past year?
Well, we had several events. We had several different guest speakers. We had one talk about the early history of religion, so kind of the dawn of monotheism.
Okay.
We had another speaker who was a Satanist come in, and he later joined the group as part of our
really?
honorary membership. Yes. We had debates with Christian groups, and we also had social activities, sometimes with Christian groups, so like bowling, heathens versus Christians.
Okay. Well, I think our viewers would be interested in that. Of course, they would expect debates with the Christians, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't expect necessarily cooperative events. So what campus Christian groups do you work with?
I believe the group we went bowling with was it Campus Crusade, or was it
Yes.
Campus Crusade for Christ?
Campus Crusade for Christ.
Yes.
In the past, you've done things with Maranatha? Or is that true?
Not with them ever.
Oh, some of their members just sit in on, come to your meetings once in a while?
Campus Crusade had a member come once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Maranatha, if anything, probably no.
Okay. I know for the past couple of years, and this is kind of interesting, that one of your members was a student from Bethel College, which is a Christian college, and yet she came to a lot of your meetings. So membership in CASH, Campus Atheists and Secular Humanists, is not limited to atheists. It's limited to, it's available to any
it's not
student.
limited at all.
And in fact, you don't even have to attend the University of Minnesota.
It's open to anybody.
It's open to anybody. What kind of due structure do you have then?
Well, for students of any type, it doesn't have to be a student at the University of Minnesota. For students of any type, it's $5, and for non-students, it's $10.
Okay.
So it's a nominal fee.
Okay, well, so it's a very open group, and of course it is mostly atheists because it's an
Yeah.
atheist group, but anybody's welcome to join.
Yeah.
I think that's What other kind of things did you do this past year? You have a bridge painting thing?
Yeah, we have a bridge painting, the Washington Street footbridge. Every student group gets a certain number of panels that they can paint with sort of advertisement. So we get 4 panels that we can paint with our, basically contact information and the name of our group to just kind of get the name out there.
Okay, some atheist quotes and things like that.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
I remember seeing one year by Mark Twain, religion is believing what you know ain't so. One of my favorite ones has been on there. Mike, you spoke at a Speak Out for Choice rally
Yes.
this past year. What was that like?
That was really fun, actually. Yeah, I wrote a speech for it, and everyone there seemed to really enjoy it. And I was happy to represent our group in a sort of more political manner than past years, maybe.
So, of course, your group is philosophically based in atheism, but do you take that into social issues? For example, the position of choice on abortion, gay rights. Do you discuss that at all? Deal with that at all in your group?
Well, obviously these topics, do come up, but as far as, most people in the group are atheists, so we do agree on that issue, but as far as political issues, there's not, unison in any one issue, so there's lively debates on most of these political issues.
Okay. Now also, Mike, you've come with me a couple times this past year to speak to high schools and colleges. When we go to, like in the high school, there's a comparative religion class that we spoke at Park Center High School. And then we also spoke at Northwestern College, which is a Christian college in Arden Hills. What was that like for you to be addressing students and talking to them about atheism?
Well, Northwestern was, it was interesting because it reminded me a lot of my high school, because I went to a Catholic high school, and the students, they were, for the most part, Christian, and that reminded me a lot of that. Park Center, that was interesting because for the first time I was confronted with Islam, with some students who were brought up to be Muslim, and they had their own sort of beef with, well, maybe that's not the right word, but they had their own concerns about atheism.
Okay. Now, members of CASH have also marched with Minnesota Atheists in the May Day Parade and the Gay Pride Parade, and we're very happy to have CASH members march with us, and some of you are dues-paying members of Minnesota Atheists. I know you're a member of Minnesota Atheists as well as CASH. Now, what kind of things does CASH have planned for the coming year?
Well, actually, I think the plans for this upcoming year are very ambitious, and it's going to be an exciting year. One of the first things we have is the bridge painting sort of event again. And this year we're making it a fundraiser where members and people in the general public can pay a certain amount per word, and we'll put a quote up on the bridge so that we're going to fill it up with atheist quotes this time. And
okay, so it's a very, very clever fundraiser, I think.
So. Yeah.
It's $10 a word, and probably by the time people watch this program, that'll be over. I mean, you'll have all your quotes, but you'll probably do it again next year.
Yeah.
So if you're given like 4 panels again, you can fill it up with a lot of quotes that people pay $10 a word to sponsor. And in fact, my girlfriend and I have sponsored one of the quotes.
Oh, okay.
So it's fun. Now, another fun thing that I heard you guys are thinking about doing, it's called, or you're calling it, Sell Your Soul for an Oreo. Explain what that is.
Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to, we table every Thursday in the Student Union.
At the Kaufman Memorial Union. Okay.
Yes, and we're going to invite passerbys to sell their soul for an Oreo. So we'll have some Oreo cookies, and we'll be like, oh, you want to sell your soul for an Oreo? And they get their cookie, and we'll drop a marble in a jar or something to track it, and see how many souls we can get by the end of the year.
Okay. Will they have to sign a piece of paper stipulating that they've sold their soul to CASH, or you just take their word for it?
We'll see what happens. We'll see
Okay.
if there's any legal issues that come up.
There was a story in the paper a year or two ago about a guy who sold his soul on eBay. And he had it like in a little jar, and it had fancy letters, my soul. And so that caused some humor and some controversy.
Yeah.
So, So now you mentioned tabling at Kaufman Union.
Mhm.
What is tabling?
Tabling is sitting behind a table and contacting whoever walks by in the student union, kind of getting at the name of Cash in the campus community. People often have a lot of questions, want to know what Cash is all about, and this is, in my experience, the best way to get that out in the public.
Okay. Now, in the coming school year, the 2004-2005 school year, what day and time slot are you going to have at the Kaufman Memorial Union?
It's going to be on Thursdays from noon to 4.
Okay. So, any of you that are on campus at the University of Minnesota, the Minneapolis campus, stop by Kaufman Memorial Union Thursdays from noon to 4, and very likely you'll find the campus atheists and secular humanists. So that's great. Now, you will be sponsoring also in this coming year maybe some out-of-town speakers, some debates.
Yeah, that's part of the ambitious plans for this year is with the fundraising we're able to do. I think we're going to be able to pull in better speakers and speakers from, besides just having professors and people from local area, we'll be able to pull in people from a wider area.
Okay. You're in the midst of planning a project about women's rights or something?
Yeah.
Tell me some more about that.
The title of this is going to be, Is Organized Religion Harmful Towards Women? And Cash is kind of planning to have a major forum like this every year, possibly every semester. And this year we're going to look at, does organized religion violate women's rights?
Mm-hmm.
We're pulling in Annie Laurie Gaylor, and
From Freedom from Religion Foundation in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes, and
Give them a plug. They're a great group.
yeah, they're great guys there. And yeah, we'll talk about that, and hopefully, I don't know, if nothing else, stir up some controversy or.
Now you're saying it's a panel discussion, so on this panel you'll have a Christian and a Muslim and some other religions perhaps? Is that what you have in mind?
I'm not quite sure on that.
Yeah, I believe that we're going to be sponsoring it, co-sponsoring it, and trying to get other student groups involved. So there will be a Christian student group, and I think Emily might have said that there was a Muslim student group. I'm not positive on that, though. But various student groups will be sponsored.
Well, that sounds fascinating. And of course, women's rights are so much in the news, and the number one force or group trying to limit women's rights is religion. You look at the Taliban, you look at the anti-choice right-wing groups, religious right groups. So I think that sounds really great. Now, we also hope that you'll continue to work with Minnesota Atheists on some projects. They will continue sending speakers to high schools and Christian colleges. That's something that I've been doing for about 20 years, and when I started, I was 25 years old, so I was very close in age to these students. Well, now I'm almost 45, and so I like to take a young person with me. And it works out very well, because they have someone there that's only a few years older than them that they can relate to, and also it trains some of the Cash leaders in public speaking and to become future leaders of Minnesota Atheists. So we hope to tap Cash for some speakers for the high schools in the coming year. Also, we've instituted giving Cash, Campus Atheists and Secular Humanists, a spot in our newsletter. And we'd also be interested in co-sponsoring a cable program with you, the one that you students came up with the speakers and we helped you produce it. And all of this, of course, is to make the transition from being college atheists and student atheists to being part of Minnesota Atheists, to get a better transition, I think, and to basically benefit the cause of atheism in general. Well, we talked a bit about Campus Atheists and Secular Humanists. I want to get into some of the more personal backgrounds for both of you. I think our viewers would be interested. I know I'm interested. Tim, we'll start with you. What year are you in at the University of Minnesota?
I'm just starting my second year of graduate school.
Grad school.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you studying?
In computer science, the PhD track. So.
Okay. Where did you go for your undergrad?
I went to Marquette University. It's a Catholic school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay, and how were you raised?
And I was raised Lutheran, ELCA Lutheran.
Okay, so you were raised Lutheran, then you went to a Catholic college, and now you're an atheist at a state university
Yeah.
in Minnesota. How would you describe your evolution from theist to atheist?
Well, I guess, yeah, when I started college, I would have considered myself a Christian and a Lutheran, but I did like the fact that going to a Christian school allowed me to, see other Christians and be with Christians. But it's actually kind of ironic that the courses that I took at Marquette, that they make you take, the theology courses and philosophy courses and some anthropology classes, really got me thinking that, maybe this isn't all
Really?
as correct as it's been taught to me. So that really started my evolution towards thinking towards atheism.
Okay. Can you think of any particular sciences or philosophies or books or subjects that...
Yeah, well, I guess probably the most important contributing factor was the anthropology classes with, learning about evolutionary biology and that there's no real scientific evidence for the creation. It's not it's not a viable explanation.
So would you say that once you realized you could no longer take the Genesis creation story literally, that kind of the rest of the blocks started to fall?
Yeah, and I guess in combination with the theology classes, where even the theology professors are saying the Bible isn't, an infallible book. It's a lot of storytelling. So that sort of led me that direction too.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference, because you went to a Catholic university, and the Catholics will admit that the Bible is not perfect, and will admit that some of these things are stories.
Yeah.
And had you gone to, a more evangelical college, like maybe Falwell's Liberty Baptist College or something like that, they would have been telling you it's inerrant.
Yeah.
So at least the Catholics are honest about the Bible not being perfect, and that was the beginning of the end, actually, it sounds like.
Yeah, that was the downfall.
Yeah. Okay. Do your parents know that you're an atheist, and if so, what do they think about it?
Yes, well, I told my mom flat out that I'm an atheist, but my dad, I've more beat around the bush. But he knows I don't go to church anymore, and I don't believe what he believes. So I think my mom's pretty much okay with it. My dad is a little, disappointed that I'm not, Christian, but he's very, he still loves me a lot, so.
Okay. Thinking at least partly on how you were raised and the journey you made, from theism to atheism, if you had kids, how would you raise them?
Well, I don't think there's really any question that I would raise them to be atheists and raise them to be scientific. And being an atheist myself, it wouldn't really make sense to me to bring an extra element of religion in when I made the decision that it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Would you at all expose them to religion?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think they should learn about religion.
Sort of like in a comparative religion sort of way?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, well, Mike, we'll turn to you now. Some of the same questions, of course. Are you attending the University of Minnesota at present?
No. Right now I'm going to Minneapolis Community and Technical College.
Okay.
But I will be going to the U again in spring.
Yeah, and of course it doesn't matter whether you go to the U or not as to whether you're a member of CASH. So that's fine. What do you study?
I'm an English major.
Okay. What's your background as far as religion or religion?
I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
Irish family, so Catholicism kind of naturally followed.
Okay.
And I went to a Catholic high school and middle school for 6 years. And so I encountered Catholicism quite a lot growing up.
Okay. It's interesting that the leadership of atheist groups is disproportionately ex-Catholic. There are many more ex-Catholics as a percentage of the leaders of the atheist movement than there are in the popular. I'm an ex-Catholic myself. So, how did you become an atheist?
Well, I think my first beef with the Catholic Church was the politics of it, the anti-homosexual sort of stance they take on some issues, the discrimination against women. And then there's more of a philosophical, like, well, a lot of the things you're saying just don't seem to be possible. And it just kind of slid more and more as I investigated more.
Would you say it's similar to Tim, that once the perfect Bible fell away and the dominoes started to fall, it was just a continuous stream?
Well, I guess I never believed in the perfect Bible since I was raised Catholic, but I was more theological. Like, the arguments they had just weren't very good arguments.
Okay. Were there any particular sciences or philosophies or books or authors that influenced you?
I guess the internet actually influenced me a lot.
Oh, okay.
What was theology and became philosophy discussion was kind of discussing with other people why they're a Christian or why they're atheists, and I like the atheist arguments better.
Okay. Do your parents know that you're an atheist?
I was raised by my mom and kind of my uncle.
Okay.
My uncle knows I'm an atheist. I told him flat out. He seems to, he'd probably prefer it as a Catholic, but doesn't really seem to care that much. I haven't really told my mom, but she doesn't really, I'm not sure if she'd care one way or the other, to be honest.
Okay. Does she kind of know you're not going to church anymore?
Yeah, she knows I'm not Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll ask the same question of you that I asked of Tim. If you had children, how would you raise them?
That is an if. I'm not sure if I want to go through that, but if I did, I'd probably treat religion as Greek mythology was treated to me. You know, like, some people believed this before, but, you know.
Okay. Now, you had something interesting happen. A couple months ago, you were at a restaurant in South Minneapolis. You want to describe that?
I went by the restaurant. Luckily, I didn't spend my money there. They had a sign up there basically saying those who complain about "In God We Trust" on the money, or about the Pledge of Allegiance having God in it. Their exact words were, actually, there's profanity in them. So it was sit down and shut up, basically.
Yeah.
And so I sent them a letter, kind of like saying, like, well, here's the history of dissent in America. Here's why separation church and states. And they took the sign down eventually.
Wow.
So they didn't respond to me. I'm not sure if they just were scared by me or if they agreed with me or what.
But that's a significant victory.
Yeah,
That's really great. Where do you two see, if anything, how the future of the atheist movement? You think the atheism, the polls show that people claiming no religion or outright atheists are growing. Do you think that's going to continue?
I think it will continue, yes. It's happened in Western Europe. The numbers are even greater than they are in the United States. And I don't know what is a factor of this. We're so successful, maybe we think, we don't need God anymore. And I don't know what the cause is, but I think as the nation continues, it will increase the numbers.
Do you feel similarly optimistic?
Yeah, I feel optimistic. I feel it's almost inevitable that people sort of reject religion more and more. I think humor is a very good ally in the people becoming less and less religious, because if you watch TV or the radio or something, and a lot of humor is not very, it mocks religion basically, and there's a lot there to mock.
Wow, okay. I've noticed something in my encounters with your generation and the young people today. It can be summed up in a phrase or in a word that's been coined called apatheism. It's a combination of the words apathy and theism. That a lot of people your age and younger just don't care about religion. And they don't really give it much thought. It's not like they're in the atheist camp or the theist camp. They're the apatheist. They just don't care. Do you find that at the University of Minnesota?
I think so, yeah. Because, I think about religion a lot, and I consider myself an atheist. And then there's people who think about religion a lot and call themselves theists. But for the most part, people in a daily university life don't think about religion too much, and they don't go to church on Sundays. But if you ask them, they wouldn't say I'm an atheist. They just basically stopped worrying about it.
And they might even say they're a Christian just because that's how they were raised, but they really aren't Christians.
Yeah.
You know?
Or, or there's this one where they say they're spiritual, but they're not religious.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see that as the trend. My niece is 18, and I think she would fit that category. You know, she's just starting in college, and probably similar to the students at the U of M. You know, she's got her studies, and she's got her probably looking for a part-time job and a date on a Friday night, and there just doesn't seem to be any practical use for religion, so it just doesn't really enter her life.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we've discussed before that you don't have to be a student at the University of Minnesota to be a member of Campus Atheists and Secular Humanists. We're at the end of our show. You can repeat the membership dues structure that you have?
Sure. For students of any type, it's $5, and for non-students, it's $10.
So it's a college student at a different college, or even a high school student. It's just $5.
Just $5, yeah.
So, and then for people like me, it's $10, which is still very reasonable.
Yeah.
How would people contact Campus Atheists and Secular Humanists?
Well, you can email UMAH.org. That's UMAH@umah.org, which is our old name. So it's like
Yeah, your old name was?
University of Minnesota Atheists and Humanists. But the university doesn't like groups to have that in front of their name because it kind of they say it could mean an endorsement of a group.
So they made you change your name?
Yeah.
And came up with Cash.
Yeah.
And of course, if you contact Minnesota Atheists, we'll be happy to put you in touch with Cash, Campus Atheists and Secular Humanists. Well, I think this has been a good show. Do you have any final words of wisdom that you'd like to impart to our audience?
I guess not. Just
No.
good to be here, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great to have you.
Yes.
Okay. And thank you for joining us today on Atheist Talk. If you'd like to receive more information about Minnesota Atheists, including a free sample newsletter, you can contact us. Our information has been on throughout this program, and it will appear again at the end. And we hope that if you like what you see, you'll consider becoming a member of Minnesota Atheists. If you're interested in us, we're interested in you.